Hey there, welcome back to Owl Dragon Adventures. I'm Scott Kegler.
And I'm Rob McPherson.
And this is our review of Flamecraft. So this is Flamecraft by Cardboard Alchemy, designed by Manny Vega. The art is, actually, you probably have seen it before. This is what really triggered a lot of this game by Sandara, Tang. It is all these really cool watercolor kind of very cute, very adorable little dragons. I think it all started with a piece that she did, and go ahead and correct me in the comics if I'm wrong here, but a creme brulee dragon.
Yeah.
I
think I remember you pointing it out.
It was like a wizard,
playing,
like a young wizard. She's like at some sort of nice restaurant, and there's like a little dragon warming her creme brulee, and that's like, from my understanding of what some of the art inspired the game. So Flamecraft, anyways, is a 1 to 5 player game. It says it takes 60 minutes, and it really does stick to that 60-minute mark.
Yeah, no, it's pretty true to that.
Light to medium weight game. It says 10 plus. Very easy to teach, and it has like the perfect balance of amount of rules to learn while still being kind of fun and crunchy. Like it kind of like is
we were able to dive in pretty quickly without really crunching over the rules too much, but there was definitely some moments of AP as we were playing.
Yeah, absolutely. It's one of these games. So the basic game is a shared engine building drafting game where on the map of this town you are setting up these little shops, and you're using basically cards that have a little bit of multi-use to trigger events and move around your small worker placement around the board of your dragon. So as you move your individual dragon around, you're either activating a shop or adding more dragons to the board, thus creating this engine of the town. Right. And on your turn, you're benefiting from triggering those events, that engine, to get your own prestige, or I think it's called reputation in the game, victory points. It is a pretty high-scoring game, considering from as we were playing it through. Like, you really get a lot of points as you go along.
Yeah.
It's, again, easy to teach. You basically have one or two options. You can gather, which is adding out moving your dragon on the board and getting resources of some type, or you can enchant, which is that improving one of these shops around the board.
Yeah, which essentially just gives them, in addition to giving yourself perks, like some of them give you ingredients, some of them give you just victory points themselves.
Yeah.
But other than that, it adds to the shop, so when you go there to gather, there's another ingredient that you can gather, because you gather everything that's visible in that single shop.
And what's interesting is of the 6 dragon cards or types they all have their own unique ability when you're using them and playing them on the board or activating them on the board. So, like, for instance, like a iron dragon just gets you a couple of resources that are there, so it's good at gathering extra ones. Bread dragons add new ones, pull new dragons into the game.
Yeah, the fire dragon lets you play another one from your hand.
Correct. And then and then there's really interesting ones you can start to chain, which is like you can the potion dragon lets you rearrange dragons on the board, and there is this leaf dragon that really ties into some of the friendliness of the game. I found is that you can give somebody a resource to get reputation.
Yep.
So you're giving out resources on the board. It is very friendly for a what can sometimes be a little cutthroaty on as you're moving around. The worker placement.
Yeah,
it's
got an interesting balance of feels to it.
Oh, without any take that though. Like it's very light. And we've played it a few times now, and I really liked the speed of the game. And the gameplay itself was fun.
Our second gameplay was so fast because we ignored all of the enchanting, and we just kind of kept gathering, and as you fill up shops by putting new dragons down into them, you unlock new shops that you have to fill up, and then the game ends when you've unlocked and filled all the new shops. And all of a sudden we look down after like 20 minutes, we're like, oh wow, there is one space left for a shop.
But I do find though that for the gameplay, it's got this like nice steady pace of just like constant dopamine, because I feel like I was always doing something in like an event, like I was getting points or resources.
Right.
I didn't have any turns where I was like, this is, you're just like, I guess I'm prepping something on the next turn.
No.
So for me, from a gameplay side, I think this is a high for me. I really enjoyed it. This is going to be one of those games that I will use as maybe a gateway game for someone at the table, or if we're in the beginning of a night or end of a night, and we're like, I want something that's somewhat crunchy, but not going to be a brain burn, and we'll stick to the 60 minutes. It doesn't say 60 minutes; it means 90 minutes to 2 hours. Which some games like that can end up. Even games that say 45 minutes can end up being like 2 hours long.
Yeah, I think it's a clever mix of a worker placement, Tableau-ish engine build game. It's combining a few things, and I really like the combination, so I'm going to give it a high on gameplay also.
So next would be accessibility, and we kind of talked about that a little bit.
That a bit, yeah.
I mean, on the rating out of 10, but I just find it's one of these games like you can do two things. First, you have to move your dragon, and then you can do one of two things.
Right.
So you're going to move it to another shop. Whatever shop you're in, you move it to a next one, and you have essentially two choices that have options attached to them.
Right.
So that's pretty easy to get your arms around. I think it truly is a 10 plus. It feels that way.
Yeah.
Not going. I mean, it's, I guess, maybe difficult to master as you learn the game and what shops are good at kind of comboing with certain things.
I'd say that it's a step above like party gaming in terms of accessibility. Like if you have somebody in your group who only likes playing party games, I'm so sorry. I mean, it's probably not going to be light enough for them. But other than that, like for anybody who plays any style, like worker placements or whatever games, this is real accessible.
Yeah, I think my oldest is 8, and I think this is something he could probably be playing soon.
Yeah.
So I really enjoyed that. So
I
it's
think especially once you get one or two more plays, so you can really just like help streamline things.
Yeah, so I think like from green to advanced, like I think this is still high accessibility for me.
Same.
With like a rare, like you said, rarity. If someone's like, I don't really like board games, they only want to play like Cat or something.
Once again, our condolences.
Yeah. Anyways, that is
accessibility. So
design. From a design standpoint, the art is very cute. I will say, I had backed this, and I should have said this at the beginning of the video. This is not the retail copy of the game.
Right.
This is the Flamekeeper copy. So all the components. So if we're any pictures we've shown, this is all nice wooden components, metal coins, lots of extra cards.
Yep. The miniatures are also.
And the miniatures are extra. It just comes with these wooden meeples. The miniatures are worth it for sure.
Yeah.
And the
meeples
metal coins
are good too.
Yeah,
they're like custom cut meeples. They're not just.
They're good. I just I like the
minis
as well, especially because of how much you're using them. I didn't know originally how much you'd be using them when I
Right.
backed it. So bringing it back to when I backed it, I think the design is great. I will say the closest kind of like gaming spiritual moment I had with this that like I was surprised by was I don't particularly love the cute element of it. Like I could appreciate it, but it wasn't for me. But it was very much like when we played the first time we played Tiny Epic Dinosaurs.
Oh yeah.
Where like I looked at the Tiny Epic and I was like, I don't want to play that. It looks a little too cute for me. And then I played it, and Tiny Epic Dinosaurs is probably my favorite of that series.
Epics,
or it's like right there in the top 3.
Yeah.
And again, very cute art. This is very cute, and I was like, I don't think I'm gonna be in the mood for it yet. And then we played it, and I get the design. It makes sense. It looks great. It's got high appeal. I mean, it killed on Kickstarter.
Yeah. So I'd say the same. So it wasn't actually the design for me that made me not back it. I wasn't sure I would like the theme of it because it seemed like it was really heavily into like the baking and things like that.
Yeah.
And I will say like the theme itself, it's there. It's reflected in all of the elements for sure, but it doesn't necessarily like feel like I'm baking a cake, so it doesn't detract it from me.
Yeah, there's no procedure to it, or like there's no mechanic that is like, oh, this is that way. It's more like, oh, it's a cute resource gathering, worker placement, engine build. It does that all very well.
Yeah, absolutely.
But like the theme is more like, if you like dragons and that's cute, that's great.
I like my dragons a little more ferocious.
But they're very adorable.
You can't dispute that. And it all ties together very nicely. Like the entire game looks cohesive.
Yeah. So it's a high end design for me, even though it's definitely not necessarily like the kind of thing that jumps at me normally.
Yeah.
Value. No, not value. Sorry, quality. Quality.
So again, speaking to the Flamekeeper copy.
Yeah, I mean, this edition of the game, I would say, is like overly high. Like this is one of the components. The metal coins that came with this game might be one of my favorite metal coins that came with a like next to like Dinosaur World's metal coins. It's like
if you're familiar with from Dungeons and Dragons, the old school like Tiamat symbol of the 5 dragon heads in the pentacle. This kind of uses a similar,
Just cuter.
except much cuter, and they're 6. So stay away, Wizards of the Coast. No copyright infringement.
Yeah. but they were excellent quality. Similar to like Wizard, wooden tokens versus the cardboard tokens, excellent quality.
Yeah.
That said, I think the game is fun enough where even if you had wooden meeples instead of the miniatures, cardboard coins is okay. It's like my favorite upgrade is metal coins, and the just cardboard resource tokens. I still think the quality of the game is pretty solid. I've seen videos, I've seen pictures of the retail edition, and it's fine. It's a good quality. This is an excellent quality deluxe. Like when I get a deluxe copy of a game, this is like what I want to see.
Yeah, they got deluxified right in this. You've got the game trays in there for the sorting. You've got all the great custom cut, custom silk screened pieces for the resources. I mean, just everything that Scott said. It's quality of the Flamekeeper version is great. Yeah,
and it will have, and I think like this is one of these games where like quality will definitely like knock this up at least a half a point or more for me when I'm experiencing a game with that type of
it's a good tactile
coins.
feel, especially because you're trading resources a lot. It's not just like you're collecting them and they're sitting there for end game or whatever. It's literally back and forth, back and forth, back and forth.
And they feel different because like their wooden shapes are cut that way. And so for me, it's a high quality, particularly for the Flamekeeper edition.
Yep.
And then finally, value. So I cannot remember how much the retail is right now. I do know that this Flamekeeper was $79 for the all and deluxe.
Yeah.
That was with like the game trays and everything, like the extra cards. So that was the as deluxe I think as you could get without buying the T-shirts and stickers and stuffed animals that they had. This one had like a lot of extras in their campaign. A lot of people, from what I saw online, a lot of people bought the stuffed animals.
I forgot how cheap this one was.
Yeah, so $79, not bad. So for me, I've already played it, I think, like 3 or 4 times now. I think this is one I won't struggle to get to the table. Spoiler, this might end up in my top 5 of 2022 games just because I really liked how light it is, and I think something like I could get my wife to play that doesn't play as many heavier games.
Yeah. So and I was just noting how I'm starting to get a little bit, as weird as it sounds, like burnt out on lighter games. I like the crunch, and this has a light feel to it, but it's got the crunch that I need that I don't.
Yeah, it's not a filler game. Like this is something like is a really solid. Like I said, like if you want a real warm up game that's gonna still feel like a game.
Yeah.
So I think it's a high value for me. I think. As I whittle it down and get more plays of it, I will get my, a good hourly rate out of the game.
Yeah, absolutely. At $80 for the deluxe copy, that's a no-brainer in my opinion. As I said, I'll put the retail value in the comments so you can see that. But my guess is it's somewhere probably around 60, just for
50
looking
or
at
60,
everything.
yeah,
something like that. And in which case, it's a no-brainer still.
Yeah, and it's just one of those games too. It's going to be easy to get to the table because that's impacting value, because it's easy to set up. It is, and it's going to stick to it. Like if you're like, I have an hour, and change, you're going to get through a full game of this.
Yeah.
Even with a little crosstalk at the table. I will say the only thing I work against it from getting it to the table is the player or the game mat is so long.
Yeah,
it's a bit of a table hog.
It's a bit of a table hog,
and 90% of it is the game board.
It's true, and it is. There's a lot of the time where players will be like, "Okay, can you move my piece because it's like, all the way over there."
Like we have like a 3x5 foot game area right here, and it would take up the majority of that.
Absolutely.
But it's only like this wide, the board.
Sure.
But it rolls out across and the neoprene mat is excellent.
Yep.
But it rolls
that's right. Is it neoprene in the?
I don't know if it's neoprene in the
base game.
In the base game or not. We will confirm that for the video, but. So high value for me right now. That's subject to change with over time.
Yep. So where are you landing with it overall, you think?
Right now, I'm going to be optimistic. Where I'm very into it right now. This is one that's still sitting on like part of my shelves where I'm like I'm getting to it. So right now for the game it is, I think I'm at like an 8.5 right now. I really enjoyed it, which is shocking because I didn't even know if I was going to table it after I got it, just
Sure.
because of like everything I have right now myself.
Yeah, it's true. When it was coming in, he's like, I got the shipping notification for Flamecraft. Wonder how long that's going to sit on the shelf of shame. And it only sat on the shelf of shame for like a week, right?
Yeah, I think I wrestled with it, and I'm like, I'm just gonna play it, and then we ended up loving it.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. So I'm actually gonna land on the same 8.5 right
Excellent.
now. I mean, you got me with dragons, but they're a little cutesy dragons, a little ding. But no, overall, as of everything that I've been saying, it's really fun. It's really quick. Even the AP that happens is a fraction of the time of AP in other games.
And something I didn't mention during gameplay, and just like what I really loved about it is, I think almost all of our games have been very tight as score wise.
Yeah. They've been within, I want to say within 4 points
Total. Like it's like one person, then 2 down, then 2
yeah.
down. It's been crazy how everyone kind of picked it up with entirely different strategies.
Sure. Yeah.
Like it wasn't like this is
Sean
the
was
only
a
way
little
to win.
sad his strategy didn't work twice in a row.
Yeah, like he had an interesting strategy. I don't want to spoil it and explore
Yeah.
the game, but like there's definitely some. It is a fun game, I will say, on a scoring side. Before we get to the end of the video here, that I like games like this that really have these surprise victories, because you're kind of like trailing with points, and all
At
of a
one
sudden
point I was
you throw
like-
points out at the end of the game.
40 points behind, and
Yeah.
I didn't win, but I came real close to. Actually, I landed in the middle.
Yeah, absolutely.
so,
So it's
yeah.
like they call it like the fantasy dragon win. So people that are fans of the game, like you just can
it's
kind
all
of you
end-game
can have these
conditions.
little like end game cards.
It's
ready to go.
anxiety inducing though, because you're sitting there and you're looking at your VP tracker like half the game board behind
Yeah.
everyone else. You're like, oh crap.
So very fun. Definitely check out Flamecraft by Cardboard Alchemy.
Yeah.
I'm sure this really did well for them. I think they're going to be having a nice boost for this for their next campaign. Looking forward to checking it out.
Yeah, absolutely. Same.
So for that, thank you for checking this video out. Make sure you like and subscribe, and we wish you good luck with all of your board game adventures.
And thank you for joining us on ours.